en route to location, which is the Brecon Beacons, beautiful area of the world, in our trusty Defender, one of our first shoots of 2015, which is the Aston Martin V12 Vantage S convertible. Now, some people would say that filming a convertible in January in England is inadvisable, and they're right, which is why we're taking it to Wales. I just found out there was some heavy snowfall last night for a few hours, and I think our luck's going to run out today. It's freezing outside, the rain is pouring, but Alex has agreed to have the top down whatever. I'm going to keep him to that because I'm usually the one that's outside freezing while he's got his heated seats on. So the first order of the day is probably to get some nice details of the car before it gets too dirty. You'll see actually on car shoots, you tend to spend half your life cleaning. How close to done do you reckon we are, Rebecca?
We're,
as good as we're going to get before the storms roll in.
Medical carbon fibre.
So what we're trying to do here is get some sound of the car, especially with something like this, like a beautiful V12. The thing is, with something this loud, it's actually quite difficult to get good sound because, especially to get up to the speeds where the engine starts to sing, things start to get very windy and loud. So actually the trick is to try and get the mic in a hidden place but quite far away, because if you put them too close to the exhausts, even half a meter away, it just blows it out completely.
The morning of day 2, a pleasantly late start, because the way winter works is that we get really late mornings, which is great. So it wasn't a 5 a.m. wake-up call, which is the norm as the year goes on. The weather has changed quite a lot from yesterday, where there was once lovely snow, there is now mud and water and horrible, but we are in Wales where they make the rain.
So you joined me at the most glamorous part of filming at dawn. We've got the very high-tech Waitrose camera Garda, which is protecting our Blackmagic production camera. We've been having like ice rain this morning, and it's not particularly pleasant. As you can see with the time lapse, I had to hold the camera down, so half of my trousers are sodden, the other half aren't, just because I was standing behind the camera while being pelted just to protect it from the wind. Standing on the tripod just to make sure it didn't blow over is really treacherous out here. I'm currently wearing 2 coats, got my t-shirt tucked into my underpants, so and I'm still freezing, can't feel my feet, legs or hands. Alex is currently probably snoozing in the Defender. Lucky bugger. I might have to go in there to thaw out in a bit so I can feel my face. So this is the tracking part, and this is the most dynamic stuff probably of the shoot. You get some quite interesting movement shots because both the cars are moving, so you can get a lot of cool, interesting stuff. You obviously got a driver, myself, and Alex, and we'll all be communicating together to try and get the best shots. We're all on public roads, so obviously you have to be very safe. But this will be my my home for the next probably half an hour to an hour, so lovely and comfortable and warm, obviously, on the hard metal floor of the Defender.
Be careful not to go too fast, because Defender's great but can be a bit bumpy on these roads. So I'm trying to keep it below 30. And so Alex in the Aston Martin has to get up close behind us.
In the car. There is hail in the car.
I've been steadily, bathing in this very lovely bath that happens to be shaped like an Aston Martin. Anyway, I'm going to close the window and dry the inside with my lovely drying scarf now.
Sometimes just Wales, right?
Welcome to the inside of the back of the Defender, where it is currently hailing inside the car, which is quite an achievement. Keeps you warm in these temperatures. Just something, because nothing else can at the moment.
Not many people get to see cars like this, so I always like to share them with people, because I know I'm a really lucky boy. This is my job. How insane is that? So if we're not if we're driving, because that is dangerous, leaning out a window going, "What's the car, mate?" But say at a petrol station or when we're doing the statics, someone wants to know something about it, I'll happily talk to them, because these are special things, and it's awesome to be able to share them. Partly through a video on the internet, one of which you're watching now, hello, but partly through shaking hands and talking to people. So it turns out people are interesting.
It's just started hail snowing again, which is this new form of weather we're discovering today. It's a mixture of sleet and snow and hail all fired at you at high velocity. It's not as nice. You don't get to see the beautiful countryside, which is supposedly why we're here. So we're going to wait for this to clear a little longer, maybe try and get some high-speed passing shots, and maybe get the camera out for more bolted-on shots. We're now getting into position for the passing shot. So this is when we're going to be on the side of the road and having Alex zoom past us, so he gets some nice kind of static ones, and then we'll move the camera about. I'm going to summon Roo on the radio, and he's going to bring the Defender down with all the kit. Right now we're just sort of scouting a good location to park it and seeing where we can get the best shots from. This is when it's good to have the Defender, because, I mean, with a standard car, we might not be able to park it anywhere, but with the Defender, we can just chuck all the kit in there. I don't have to lug it down the mountain as usual, and we can just park it up anywhere, because we know it's not going to get itself in trouble on this mud, which is surprisingly slippery. But fortunately, I've chosen to wear squash shoes, which is the most appropriate footwear when you're trouncing up and down a mountain all day in sub-zero temperatures. It can also act as a nice protective wall from the wind and snow, but you have to get the right side of it for that. Unfortunately, this is not the correct side to be on. Feels like our day summed up, really. Not the right place at the right time. This has now gone from a bad shoot in terms of weather to comfortably the worst ones that Alex and I have experienced.
I'm freezing.
It's not a complaint that's going to hold much credit with our audience, but having a sports car or a supercar to film indoors and get into these tiny corners with, it can be really tight to set up, and you can't see your shot, and it's sometimes you do wish for a family saloon. I know I shouldn't, but they are a bit easier to film in.
I know it sounds incredibly arty and very pretentious, but it's important to try and look at things a little bit differently, because we could say, oh, well, it's got a big engine and it does this many MPGs and this and that, but it's more fun to have a little bit of a giggle with it, don't you think? Try and think around it, and hopefully make other people think a little bit more around the topic rather than just about another car. But this time we went with madness. Like, if someone's a bit mad, or if someone's, say, certifiable, and they keep insisting that they're not crazy, well, you're going to think they're more crazy because of their madness, right? And alternatively, everyone has that little voice in the back of their head that says, I wonder what would happen if. And it's kind of working that into a car.
Ironically, the sun is shining very brightly as we drive away from Wales after the end of a, I think, pretty successful shoot, actually. The difficulty with today was the inconsistency. I mean, the clouds were moving so fast in the sky, we just kept on getting 5-minute rainstorms, then 5 minutes of pure sunshine. So you'd see a gap in the sun and you'd think, okay, quickly, we can do something that requires the sun out, something like rear-facing tracking. And we set up, and then the moment we set up, it started pouring with rain, so it became useless. And once you've set up, you wonder, do you wait it out or do you move to something else for that only? So it was just, it's very tricky. We can't control all the elements, and you just have to sort of accept that. But once you do, and work with them, you can get some good stuff. And I think actually the rain in the road today was very shiny in the middle of the road, and you got a really beautiful sheen when the sun hit it. So I think it, you know, in some shots it looks absolutely spectacular.